Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the fallout over the hanging of an effigy depicting Governor Andy Beshear during a rally continues. And as teams around the world work to create a vaccine for COVID-19, some of the next steps towards that goal are being made right here in Kentucky.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. It is 3 minutes after 6 on this Thursday, May the 28th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News this morning. Well, yesterday we saw a little bit of rain here in Hazard, but for the most part it was a nice day, and the day before that was nice too. Brandon says there is hope on the horizon, but we got to get past through today. So let's bring him in to get a breakdown of just what we could expect. And Brandon, there's a slight chance we could see some slight to severe storms.
All right, some stronger storms possible today, and of course that cold front tomorrow. So, Will, 48 hours from right now, we should be in that very nice break from all the rain and mess and humidity and muck. So again, just kind of keep that in mind and look, eyes on the prize. Let's take a look and see what's going on this morning. And some fog across parts of the area. Be careful of that as you head out the door toward Lake Cumberland and Monticello. Excuse me. And over toward Logan there. Excuse me, in southern West Virginia. Mountain Parkway at Slade this morning. Well, I might have to toss it back to you. I'm getting ready to have coffee, but I'll talk more about the forecast in a minute.
All right. Thank you, sir. Hope you get that drink of water, probably drink of coffee. Well, Governor Andy Beshear announced 127 new cases and 6 new deaths during last night's COVID-19 testing. That brings the totals to 9,077 and 400 respectively. More than 3,100 people in Kentucky have recovered. While those numbers keep rolling in, we're still hearing from both sides of the aisle about the hanging of the governor in effigy at the state capitol Sunday. House Democratic leaders called on Republican leaders yesterday, saying Kentucky deserves no less than the official censure of Republican State Representative Savannah Maddox. Shelby Smithson explains why they say her actions set the stage for Sunday's incident and what Representative Maddox says in response.
We are calling on the House Republicans to begin the formal censure proceedings of Representative Maddox.
It's a call to action by House Democratic leaders who say State Representative Savannah Maddox crossed a line.
Enough is enough.
At the press conference Wednesday, State Representatives Joni Jenkins, Derek Graham, and Angie Hatton displayed tweets made by Maddox before she was serving as a state representative, calling them hateful and intolerant. House Democratic leaders say those tweets and Maddox's presence at previous rallies set the stage for what happened here on the grounds of the state capitol on Sunday. That's when this video was taken, when a group hanged an effigy of Governor Andy Beshear from a tree. Maddox did issue a statement about the incident, saying she condemns all acts of hatred in the context of political discourse. But Democratic leaders say they still aren't satisfied.
I saw that statement. I don't feel that it went far enough. I think she and other elected representatives, legislators who have been appearing on state grounds over the course of the last month or so have fanned the flames to what we saw on Sunday.
Maddox responded Wednesday night, saying in part this press conference is part of a concerted effort to shift blame onto legislators who have stood by Kentuckians who are hurting. Further, she says she and other leaders were not at the rally Sunday, and still she condemns the acts of hate. Now it's up to House Republican leaders if they will answer the call. At the state capitol, Shelby Smithson, WKYT.
Now, the whole General Assembly would have to be in session for a formal censure process. It would take 2/3 of the House to agree to formally censor Maddox. Well, the next steps towards a COVID-19 vaccine are being made right here in the Commonwealth. Trials are set to begin soon. It typically takes years of hard work and research to come up with a vaccine, but the FDA is fast-tracking a treatment. Dr. Mark Adams and his team at Alliance for Multispecialty Research have already received the vaccine. He says it could be released to the public early next year.
If you think about it, you're looking at the first quarter of next year, perhaps maybe second quarter.
Testing will be done on patients whom they've worked with before, but they are also accepting new clients for the trial. If you are interested, you can call the number on your screen at 859-264-8999. Well, the reopening of Kentucky's economy during the pandemic comes at a time when experts say traumatic injuries are the most common. Medical professionals at University of Kentucky hospitals say that trauma cases climb this time of year due to the nicer weather, but COVID-19 has delayed that until recently. With that in mind, Dr. Andrew Bernard is urging people to not let COVID-19 fears keep them from coming to the emergency room after an accident, especially with serious injuries.
We're considering everybody to be at risk, including myself, when I walk in the morning. That's why I get asked the screening questions. We're wearing masks, we're cleaning our hands as we always have, and we're keeping everybody really safe.
Dr. Bernard said the most common traumatic injuries are falls, followed closely by car crashes. Well, just more than 3,000 Kentuckians have recovered from COVID-19, including Gary Abbott, a former educator and court bailiff from Wayne County. This is video released Tuesday from Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital in Somerset. Abbott went into the hospital on March 18th with coronavirus symptoms, tested positive, and then spent 70 days there. 25 of them on a ventilator. Abbott is now in a rehabilitation unit. As he left, he said, quote, "I'm here because God wants me to do something, to give other people encouragement when it looks like it's over. Heavy-duty prayer is what helps." Well, May 10th was the day a federal judge allowed in-person services to resume in Kentucky. Had the original plan stayed in place, it would have been May 20th that people could return to church. While some are back, others are being meticulous in how they return to worship. I talked with one pastor about one of those churches and how they're being cautious. Ben Fugit almost cannot hold his excitement.
I'm pumped. I'm so pumped. I'm ready to preach. I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, I'm gonna preach the hardwood up.
Fugit is the pastor of Hazard's Journey Christian Church, and he sees his sanctuary turned upside down these days as they put social distancing measures into place.
Maybe everybody who wants to come initially can't, and that's not just because of seating capacity, but maybe there's people with underlying issues, or they're in that vulnerable population. So it is heartbreaking, but at the same time, I think that it really creates a perspective for the church, a hunger to be back in the house of God and to value it once they're there.
Throughout the past 2 months, Fugit and his church utilized live streams and other means to get parishioners their weekly message.
Luckily for us, we've always done a live feed, so a lot of the things that we did or the nature of it was already in place. But to keep people interested and to keep it separate from what everyone else was doing, we did have to get creative.
But this week, Fugit laid down a tape measure and measured out exactly 6 feet between his pews. So come Sunday, they'll have a new look.
We knew it was going to look different. When I heard the 6 foot measurements, I knew that was going to look different. I didn't know how different until I saw it.
While not normal, Fugit sees this as a way to reconnect and get back to business.
I just think that our church is in a lot better position now than it was before, spiritually, mentally, about what matters most.
A business of connecting people to a higher power. In Hazard, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News. Now, in addition to spaced out pews, there will be social distancing ushers, making sure spaces and seats are being left open. Masks are not required, but they are highly recommended. Well, shortly before last night's briefing began, we learned of new guidance for Kentucky superintendents from state health officials. The guidance paints a picture of what students could expect when the new school year begins, whenever that may be. The Kentucky Department of Public Health said students who do not have any health issues should wear masks along with their teachers. Health officials also suggested that students be limited to one classroom with teachers rotating to each group. Students who use the school bus should also be seated 6 feet apart or placed in every other seat. We also learned that some superintendents told the DPH that those suggestions are not feasible. We have a list of these guidelines on our website at WYMT.com.
All right, let's try this again now without the coughing this time. Mountain Parkway at Slade this morning. Pretty quiet there. No major issues as we head out the door. Not as much fog this morning, but some patchy dense fog. And we're going to see those temperatures a little bit cooler from the low 60s down toward the Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee border to the upper 60s up to the north there where you're seeing a little bit more cloud cover in some locations. Today, your forecast, scattered chances for showers and storms and partly to mostly cloudy skies. Some of those storms later on today could be on a little bit on the stronger side, so make sure you stay weather aware. Will?
All righty, Brandon, glad you're back, and thank you, sir, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. As always, more news is on the way. Let's check out that more news. Coming up, we take a look at how the Challengers Learning Center here in Hazard is working to keep their summer programs for children going safely through the pandemic.